Hi, this is Everett. There's Watercolors. Simply drawing with Everett this morning. So what I'm going to do is do another drawing here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use color pencils, Holbein color pencils, and then I'm going to the lesson today. I'm going to talk about how to match colors with say a photograph or something like that. Do some matching of colors. Uh, they're checking that out, and I'll show that. It's a good way. That's a good lesson part right there. And then next will be to color it in with the color pencil, and then I've also a little bit of perspective tip, which I think is very important when you're doing a drawing. You get the proper perspective, for sizing and location and so forth. So those are two main areas today. So let me go to my drawing table, and let's get started. Okay, well here's the scene I have today. It's going to be a scene here where I got a couple of workmen here on the street, and you can see here that they're standing here with a couple signs. And perspective wise, if you look at the horizon line, which is you look at when the horizon line, the two heads right here are equal. They're lined up. So that's about where the horizon line is, right there. When the heads line up together like that, that's where the horizon line is. And so whoever took this photograph, they were standing up about the same size away, and then when they took the shot with their camera, so that's the way it lined up. And everything else will fall in, a little bit of perspective here on the road and so forth. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. Now, I got my Holbein watercolor pencils, color pencils. These are artist quality. And I have my small sets here. I got 3 sets of 24. And what I've done, I've lined the colors up I'm going to use. Okay, this is my, so I use this uh, little pouch here to organize my colors that I'm going to use in a particular drawing. These are the colors I'm going to use. Now, before I get started though, uh, Holbein watercolors, they come in sets of 24, 36, up to 50, and up to 150 colors. Oh, they're just beautiful. And they go on so smoothly, and you'll see the quality of them when I get started here. So, and they're on my website, everestwatercolors.com. Holbein colored pencils. All right, so I'm going to set this aside for a second. And what the first thing I do is I'm going to match some colors. So what I do here, I take this little green, yellow green thing here. So I'm going to use some color. I'm going to mention what I'm going to use here. I'm going to use lemon. This is this lemon, just like it is, just like watercolors. These are very compatible with watercolors, and that'll match that yellow. That'll match that yellow there on that jacket. Okay, so I've got that. Now I've got another one. This is called apple green. Apple green, and I can match that in with that yellow, and that'll be that green. That'll be that green color here on that jacket, right here. Also this one over here. So that's I've got the color, and then for the hat, I'm going to use orange. Okay, this is another pencil, orange. That's the hat here. So I'm going to use that color to get in. So I'm matching the colors with what I want to, and I got a little bit of red to that if I want to, but that's about it. Now the stop sign itself, I've got a couple reds. I've got this first one is signal red, signal. And I've also got a backup color here, scarlet. Oh, excuse me, carmine. So those 2 reds there will be, I put those 2 reds there and match it up to that, and it'll be the color of that line. So I go here, you put it on a piece of paper and then double check. And the other sign I'm going to use another orange. This is called tangerine. Tangerine. So this one there. So I'm going to use tangerine, and I'm going to mix that with a little bit of scarlet, another red. So those 2 colors there will give me that yellow or red orange down here on this particular sign here. So I match the colors there. Okay. And then for the green grass, I'm going to use fresh green. So this grass here is kind of a nice and light color, and that's the color I'm going to use down here to match the colors. So this is called grass green, and it's not just because I'm using it for grass. It's because it's the color I want to match the colors of the drawing. And on the dark part of the trees is a forest green, a nice dark green. And for the highlights there, I'm going to use the same color as I did on the ground. I'm going to use that apple green up here in the trees. No use getting too many colors, just get enough. And then add some really dark areas in here with the green. I've got Prussian blue. Prussian blue. That'll mix in with that green, give me some nice dark areas. Okay. And those colors there will match the colors that I have here in the picture, in the photograph reference. So I use a little piece of sketch paper. And I do, as I said, I just sample the colors, get them going, and then check it against the photograph for the particular areas I'm going to draw on. Okay, so that's the next step. Okay, so what I'm going to start with the people. Okay, I think that's important. Oh, I forgot one color I use here, which is pretty important. This is for the face, for the facial. I've got a dark background, so I'm going to use a lighter color here for the face and the arm. So this is called Juan. Let's see. This is called Jaune Brilliant. Jaune Brilliant. It's a light brown tan color, but I'm going to use that for the skin tone. Okay, that's Jaune Brilliant. Okay. All right, that was the color I wanted to fix. So those are the colors. That's the colors I've chose, and I'll show you the reason why. I'll match it against the particular one here. So let me get started with. I'm going to start with here with these. This man in the front. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow. So I'm drawing with the. I'm drawing with the colored pencil. I'll start out with the yellow. So I'm here. I'm drawing it. I'm coloring in his outfit here, and I'm probably going to simplify some of it. I'm not going to do everything in detail. I'll just do enough here to get an idea of what I'm doing here. So I put the yellow lemon. Then I'll pick up this apple green now, and I'll go ahead and just start putting that right in on top of that yellow. And that'll give me that yellow-green look there that's on his outfit. That's really a fluorescent color, very bright. That's so that everybody going by can see him. Okay, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to come over here and do this other outfit on this other figure. This figure's a little bit shorter. I'll get these in real quickly as I can. I'll put mix a little bit of yellow in with that. Okay, now let's see. Now down here on the boots here, they got a little orange trim on this. So I'll put a little bit of orange down here on this trim, and there's an orange, little orange mark here on the top of this outfit here. Just kind of indicate that around the sleeve. You know, while I got the orange in my my hand here, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting in the hat. It's a regular safety hat that they wear. We'll put that in. So using orange up here. I'm looking at the photograph and getting the angle and the size and the shape. Okay. And there's a little bit of I'll get this now right here. This is right across these hats line up because they're on the horizon line. Come over here. So I'm gonna make sure I got this one the same height, because that's basically the horizon line where the heads are equal in height. I'm putting some marks on here that basically will indicate the. Okay, so I got that hat on over here. I got those lines. That's important because that's the horizon line. Go straight across. All right. Okay. Now I think what I'll do now is I'll work on the. I can work on the features. I got this Jean Brilliant, and because I'm going to put a dark background here, I'm going to put a lighter value here on the face. I just broke my pencil, so I'm gonna. And you always have a sharpener here, so I broke the lead, so I take a little sharpener, and so be prepared. And then the arm will come out here, the hand come up. And I'll put a face on over here. Arm holding this. I just indicate that a little bit there. Okay. All right. Then for the there's a little bit of black, so I'm going to use the black here for the boots. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. They got these the bottom of the outfit and the black work boots here in the bottom. And over here, standing on the edge of the road here over here. All right, so I'm just kind of sketching this in. We'll see how far we can go with this drawing before I finish, but let's see. Okay. I'm just trying to give you the idea of how to do something like this with color pencils. All right, let's do the work on the signs now. So I'm using the signal red start. And let's go. I'm going to get this red sign here with the lettering on it. Now this is sometimes a little. You draw a little slight outline of what you're drawing. And then you do the best you can to cover the neck. Now I'm doing negative space now around that lettering. Let's see how it goes now. We'll see how it goes. Negative drawing. So I'm painting around the shape. It's just a shape. It's letters, but it's just a shape. And we've got another letter over here. And if you cover something up, you might want to go back in with you can erase it, or you can use you can even use watercolor on it, or I also have a white pencil I could put on there also. But it just gives you indication of what I'm doing. I'm going around this sign. Now I'll go down and, well, I didn't mention the paper. I'm using a dry media. This is a Strathmore product. It's dry media sketch pad. It's the size of it is 9 by 12, and I have those in my supply also. Dry media, along with watercolor pads and drawing pads. That's one thing about an art. You want to have plenty of paper around it so you don't run short, and you have different kinds depending on what you're working on. All right, so that may not be perfect today, but I'm just giving you an indication of how I would do that with a little more time. Now that stop sign. Okay, now let's work on the other stop sign. And I had two reds, just going to use one red. So over here now I'm going to start with the orange over here. Make this another different color. I'll add a little bit of red to this, give it an orangey red. So this is orange, yellow, red orange with the black lettering. So I'll just go ahead and color it in, and put the black lettering on top of that. So there's the orange. Then I'm going to use the red. This is called signal red. That'll brighten it up a little bit. But I want to keep it yellow. I want to keep it different than the stop sign. Different color. No, it is a different color, so I want it to be different in the landscape also. Okay, then I'll use my black pencil and put in the letterings. Slow, L-O, and then O, and W. Okay, and it's got a black outline, so I'll put that outline around it. Okay, all right. Now, as far as the landscape, now there's also the poles here. They're holding up the. So I'm going to put those in. This is burnt umber. There's all kinds of colors in these sets, and they're all defined on my website. You go in there and you look at the colored pencils. And each set of pencils, I have a description of what's in the set, what colors are there. There's a basic set. There's also a design set. There's a pastel set. So there's all kinds of different pastel colors. There's all kinds of ways to. There's this sign here. Goes down in front of the outfit, all the way down to the street. I'll put that in. Okay. All right. Now the other big area is the grass and so forth. So I'm just going to go ahead and indicate that. So I'm going to go ahead here and on the front here I'm using my green. I'm using fresh green is called fresh green. So let me go stand up a little bit here and do a side. I'm using the side of the. When I put in a large area like this, I use the side of the pencil, not the point, because that way it'll wear down too quickly. But this will be the foreground grass here, which is light. It matches that. You'll notice this is not going to be a complete drawing. I'm just doing a demonstration here of how to use the colored pencil and how to get something. But not only just the colored pencil, because of the colors, but also matching the color pencil. Having have a piece of scratch paper, just a piece of scrap paper, and then start out with a piece of scrap paper to come up with the color you want and have it matched. And it's come pretty darn close to what I see here in the photograph. So this with all these colors, you can buy the sets that give you the colors you want to use. But you have 150 color choices. But the sets are very convenient because they come in different sets that you can get. I would recommend a set of 24 with the standard colors in. That's where I would start with it. There's a set of 24, which is what I have here, and then I have also have the pastel set. So the standard 24 set with the small pastel set will give you lots of colors to start with. And then you can add, these are also, you can buy, they're sold individually also. You can buy the sets, and then you can go on. If you have, say your pencil's getting short, you're running out of color, then you can also order them individually, individual colors. Okay, now let's do a little bit of now I got this green grass here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of coloring here on the landscape. This is the highlights on top of these trees and bushes. These are tall bushes back here in the background. So I'll go ahead and put some of that in. So I'm just following the photograph here, getting the top of this bush line over here behind the stop sign. Let's see, there's a nice contrast there with the green and the red. That makes it pop out real nice. A little variety there. Lots of rough edges to show that it's a tree line. Okay, and up here is another bush here in the background. It's got some highlights on. So I'm just following what's on the photograph here, just to give a little impression of how I would do this. And there's some over here. There's another small bush here on this side. There's a building in the background. I'm not going to worry about the building. You just when you pick a selection of something to draw, you want to simplify. You can eliminate things that you don't want to draw or add to your. Now this is forest green, so this is the darker green. I'll come in behind this sign here now, and around the figure. The figures are really the focal point here is the figures here in the scene. So I'm going to make the dark against the light as best I can. So you always select an area that you can have as an area of interest, or an impact area, or a focal point, and you want to pick contrast there. You want to have a light against dark, or you're going to have a color contrast using opposite colors, which would make the item stand out. And that's where you want the viewer to go. You want to go to your focal point to tell the story. Now carefully go around this hat here, helmet, safety helmet. Go down here, so take a little more time around the figure here. And this is also a demonstration here that you have to take your time when you're doing something like this, because you want to get enough detail in certain areas for the story. In this case, I'm going to call this drawing a construction area, because these are the workers that work on the road, And these are the safety personnel that keep the stop signs, and you've gone probably by them many, many times in construction areas. Many, many times. And over here we got some more dark areas against this light figure, or lighter figure. I always like to have a little dark against the edges. I don't like to have light, so put the dark against the edge, which is in the photograph. And I'm just using that as my reference. Using a reference photograph, but then I can modify whatever I want to bring out the to bring out the subject. Okay, I'll come down here, I'll add just a little more darks against this figure here, just to bring it out a little better. And then when you get to this point here, then you take your time, take a break, and then you go and work on some detail. But you get the this is like blocking in, just kind of blocking in the major elements and the major colors. I'll get some of these background trees now. I'm going to use a vertical stroke here as showing that there's tall trees or something tall in the background. Tall trees, foliage. Kind of finish this drawing off now with all this background. So you can see I did this kind of rough back in here. And then I want to finish off with the Prussian blue. The Prussian blue would be to put in the real dark area. It's really dark back here against these bushes. But I don't want those to be too important. But I do want to have a little variety back here of darks and lights to show the foliage. So this Prussian blue mixed in with that green will give me a nice dark background. And I can make it as dark as I want. If I want to add black in there or whatever I wanted to do. I'll add this Prussian blue in here on top of this green. That'll make the green darker. Okay, I think that gives me enough. And I'm not going to use a blender today because I don't want to go any further. But at this point, I would get the Holbein blender out and the melts blender, and go in with a brush and then brighten up these areas. But I think this gives you an idea of, number one, once you have a photograph or whatever you're working from, then first of all, test out your colors. Here I used a little scrap piece of paper, and I test out the colors on the paint, on the drawing. Then over here I got them all selected. Then I have my colors selected in my holder, my pencil holder. Got my colors all selected and all organized. Then I start the drawing. And I didn't use any pencil in this case. I just went ahead and drew the items in there. And I did a real rough sketch on that. Okay. Well, that's as far as I'm going to take it today. But the most important, after you get the colors out, now also the other thing I want to show is perspective. We got the perspective of the street here. It's got an angle to it. So the horizon is going up here. Horizon line's here. So this is angled up. You can see that. And I get up, it's a little more straighter, or more horizontal. And the most horizontal spot is here, and right here is basically a horizon line, and those heads are right on the horizon line, and that's what I wanted to show you. So if you have figures in a picture or on a piece of art or even a drawing like this, you want to make sure you have perspective. This gives you the depth. If you see these figures here and here, you can see that this figure is in front, this figure is behind, and way back or further away. So that's another good example of perspective as far as in a drawing or a painting. Okay, well, let's go back to my main camera. Okay, Everett's Watercolors and Simply Drawing with Everett had another fun day today with my color pencils. And color pencil is a lot of fun. And I used it on that dry media pad. Let me take you back to my drawing table one more time. Okay, let me show you this. This is the Strathmore Dry Media. It's a heavyweight, multi-purpose. You can use pastels on it. You can use crayons, and in this case, I use colored pencils. Okay. All right. Let's go back to my main camera again. So anyway, the important thing I got here was the color selection. Get a proper selection of color and compare it against the photograph or whatever you're using as a reference. Or you can use any colors you want. If you want to just go, just go completely abstract, or not abstract, but you should use the colors you want. But I think having a good idea of what colors to use is to compare it against that. And the next thing was perspective. I thought this would be a good example of drawing, not just drawing figures in a drawing or a painting, but also making sure you got the good perspective, which gives depth in the painting and gives a little bit of interest. So the interest here was those construction area with the workers on the road. So please subscribe to my channel, give me a like and a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. I'll be back again this week with another drawing. And until then, I do Everett's watercolors with a watercolor painting. That'll be on the same day, on Thursday. I'll have that out, Everett's watercolors, watercolor painting. But next week I'll also do another Simply Drawing with Everett. So until then, you all stay safe. It's very warm out there, so stay cool as you can and stay hydrated. It's very important. So until next week, you all stay safe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.